Some viewers may find this content disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Bigfoot's Barbershop, aka Brian Barber, a member of the Midnight Society. It is always great to see you stop in to the Fox Den tonight for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. Yet please allow me to feed. Absolutely delicious. And now that I am no longer starving and I feel the shackles have been released, it is time for Brian and myself to take a walk into the darkness. My creatures of the night, yes, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. I do hope everyone has been staying wary as well as safe out there and making sure that they are keeping up to date as to what's occurring with some of the missing people across the United States, as well as the strange canine-like creature sightings. We have Bigfoot's Barbershop, aka Brian Barber. Yes, one of our weekly hosts, allotting some time tonight. How you doing, my friend?
We're doing good. Anxious to get rolling. Talk some Dogman.
Good stuff, my friend. You would like to, before we start rolling, tell the audience what you've been up to, or if you've had any sort of interesting thoughts lately regarding what it is that is referred to the dog man. I'm going to toss you the mic for a sec.
Health-wise, we're just recovering. We went for a while without sleep, doing a lot of studying for some things outside of the cryptids, to further my career in weightlifting and personal training. And I wound up sleeping 20 hours to pay for that. But also gave me time to think about, correlations between Bigfoot and Dogman, because there are certain times of year when Sasquatch are sighted more, you have more interactions. And I wondered, with all the data that you've collected, if you see any common threads like that as well as time of year and places during that time of year, if also what you think as far as, because, summer seems to be the more popular time for Bigfoot, but is that because the Bigfoot are out more? Is it because there's more people in the woods? So is that why the sightings are up, or just because there's more people?
Great stuff right there. And it's always good to be on the up and up when it comes to the health situation. And I feel you on being pretty busy. I mean, even, with the Dogman research I'm doing, I just updated my portfolio / resume on Indeed, updated it on ArtStation as well as LinkedIn. Did just, again, give the North American Dogman Project website a nice little facelift with a bunch of new things that have been flowing into us. And also just sitting down with hosts such as yourself as much as possible, on top of the 2 videos, one including you and one of Colleen, our science team, on my phone. I still have 8 videos on Skype too, which is great. So I pretty much always have a constant batch of stuff in the oven while I'm able to work on things. And now that I am caught up, it's good. I mean, I'm still trying to put out at least once every 2 days, still a video a day, give or take. But I've been able to get down a nice formula and also get some really good images to be able to put up with what we're talking about. And if you would like to know a little bit more about some of those correlations, I do have some charts that I've been working on, and this data was originally gathered by Jody Cook. And I would hope everyone, would know who Jody Cook is. He's the founder of the North American Dogman Project. He's pretty much the GOAT when it comes to this stuff. Rest in peace, Linda Godfrey. But if you want the godmother and godfather, well, there it is right there. Those two, Linda and Jody. They're as much as it comes to knowing pretty much the ins and outs of this. So I do encourage everyone, just understand that. And when you want to gather, data, always go to the quality sources that have been doing it. Linda's research is still prevalently out there. So is Jody's. And just really make sure to check that out. All right. So this first chart right here, okay. And I have 3 charts here, per chart. I'll let you have a response to it. But this first one right here shows a correlation by season as to when the most sightings are. Okay. So I'm just going to read it down in order. Spring, you have 17%, summer, 44%, fall, 22%, and winter, 17%.
So do you think that's just because there's more people out, or do you think they're more active?
What if I said both? What would you think?
I think you're probably right. I mean, we got to have the 3 things for a sighting. If I remember, you got to have a person, the dog man, and then willing to report it. So
yes, and
if
let's
you got
be
more
real.
people
Outside more, like you said, when it's a little bit, not that people don't head out and the winter time and such like that, but I do feel like summer, yeah, you get a little bit more of the people out in those areas deeper in the forest and such. So I think it would be, yeah, correlation with anything. I mean, any sighting of animals are going to be more prevalent in the summertime than in the winter. You're going to still see crows and blue jays in the wintertime, but not as much as the summer and spring and fall for sure.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing. I mean, is somebody ever had the time to go state by state and then see if, like, the winter months in Michigan, how that compares to someplace like Georgia where they don't get the foul weather?
Yes.
Do those reports go down? Where I know Michigan reports would probably go down. Or does Georgia stay constant, or Texas, or you know what I mean? If the weather's nice all year round, do the reports stay steady, or do they vary as well?
I mean, that's definitely some really good questions. And I think the big problem is that it really all depends on what level of quality and type of researcher or journalist somebody wants to be. I mean, you have the people that are just kind of doing it on the side, then you have people that are just interested. And so it's really hard, I guess, because even within the North American Dogman Project, you have just different people that are different levels in regards of what type of research or how much time they're going to allot to it. So that would be beautiful, but I guess we would just have to find potentially people that are willing to, put in that time to figure that out as well.
Yeah, that. They're all good questions, but you got to have someone willing, or even has the time in these days, to put into something.
Yeah, isn't that the truth, my friend? So, yeah, no, that's a great idea right there. And then the second chart we have here. All right, so it's going to break it down by basically levels of society, okay? So you have your civilians, 67% of the time are seeing this, which, give or take, I would say that's probably a little bit higher, but people just aren't necessarily reporting it all. And the reason these next 2 are going to be lower is because, it's pretty common sense. And then you have the military at 11%. And like I said, I don't really need to explain why that would be lower. That's pretty obvious. And then you have law enforcement, again, pretty obvious, at 22%.
Yeah, most of the latter of the 2 definitely have things to worry about if they open their mouths about what they do see. Careers
Exactly.
and pensions, and I have a retired DNR friend who worked on a island up here in Lake Michigan. He was there 25 years, and I asked him point blank, "You ever see a Bigfoot out there?" And he admitted he'd seen 2 of them. One was on land, and one was swimming away from the island. And I said, well, did you tell anybody? He's like, no, they threaten you with your pension. They threaten your career and everything. He claimed they signed an NDA. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But He said when you get hired in and you get stationed to these remote places, you have to sign an NDA.
Makes sense. And also, I think a lot of people don't understand when it comes to some of those quote unquote special ops. All right. You know how many times it's been shown that they have so many different levels of people that work on these projects that don't even know other people that are working on the projects. Okay. There pretty much is no way for individuals to be able to know the whole story of something because it's set up as basically like a trapdoor domino effect. Okay. Once one portion of this project is done, you don't need that portion of the team anymore. It's passed on to another portion of the team to continue. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's pretty much like I can't remember what deranged individual it was, but he had this house set up. Actually, it was like a mansion slash hotel. And he would bring in these contractors that would build this section of the house or hotel and then would be let go until they were done, and then another contractor group was coming to finish. The reason this individual did that is so that these people didn't pick up on how messed up what he was doing, because he had in this hotel all these doorways that would open and go down chutes and beds that would just drop down into the floor into trapdoor areas, and he was listed as one of America's first serial unalivers. And like I said, I can't directly remember his name, but again, none of those contractors had any idea, because same thing with like those special op type situations. You're not going to have everybody connected at one time. It's not like it's one field of scientists working on something through the entire project.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One level takes care of the first part, second comes in for the middle, and then cleanup crew.
Yeah, so I don't know where or why people, sure, science fiction movies are cool and creature features, but this isn't like 1914. This isn't a Frankenstein movie where some doctor is literally working on a project from injecting DNA to collecting the samples to it's alive. It doesn't work like that, As just stated, you have different sectors that work on things. So it is super interesting. And like you said, obviously those bottom two are going to have, more reasons to potentially keep their mouth shut about the encounters in regards of the civilians.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this next one, man, is absolutely brutal. Okay. It looks beautiful and will look great when it's put up, but I'm going to do my best here to break it down the way I can, because it's sightings by time. And like I said, it's all put out here excellent and will look great, but you'll see what I mean about having to match up it. So at 33%, we have from 9 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. Okay. Then at 11%, we have from 6 p.m. to 8:59 p.m. Then at 9%, we have 3 p.m. to 5:59 p.m. 7%, we have 12 p.m. to 2:59 p.m. 4.5% is from 9 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. 4.5% is from 6 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. 10% is from 3 a.m. to 5:59 a.m. 21% is from 12 a.m. to 2:59 a.m.
I was going to say that from area between, I bet, 9 and 3 is going to be your hot spot for time wise. The predators are at play and people are up and about still while they're camping.
Exactly. And that one right there, you'll see, like I said, when I put that up, just all of that broken down. So those are pretty much our best statistics in regards of sightings per time, per individual, and per season right there, like you had asked.
That's cool stuff because, if you know what the common threads are and you're out in the woods and during this time of year, at this time of night, things that might be going on around you, you might pay a little more attention.
This is off note for a second, and it made me chuckle because earlier, well, not really, because it ties into just paying attention, but this guy, forest outdoor person, dude got attacked by a rabid beaver, man. He's in the water. Yes, you see it, dude. He's in the water, and he had already had his boosters for this and got a shot, so he's all good. But he's over there fishing, so he's up to his waist as he's going over to get the fish that's kind of caught up on something. He says he feels like this huge shearing pain in his butt cheeks, and he turns around. It's a beaver going ballistic on him. So he said he's fighting it off. He's on his back trying to push it away, and he runs to the shore. and the thing's swimming over at him like it's Jaws or something, and gets up on the beach going all crazy. So yeah, so like I said, he's all right, but I had never heard of a beaver. But again, a lot of people don't realize when it comes to rabies, the animal has to be big enough to survive the attack. Meaning, for example, chipmunks, squirrels, things like that are not going to survive the initial attack. Even if something has rabies, as soon as it bites onto their back's broken, so they're not going to be able to survive that. It's things like raccoons that can take a bite back and run off that end up having rabies, foxes, coyotes, yeah, bears, a beaver, because if a beaver is bit by something that had rabies, it can still run into the water. So again, a lot of people don't realize that it has to be able to survive the initial attack.
I don't know if this will make the final cut or not, but that has to be the first man I've ever heard of in history who's actually trying to beat off a beaver attack.
Dude, it was just so, I was like, oh my
I didn't even know
goodness.
beavers could I never thought about beavers getting rabies.
I had never heard of it either, but as just stated, if the
Yeah.
animal is big enough to survive the initial attack, it can get rabies. Same thing with like a stray cat or a stray dog. Again, they can survive the initial attack, but something like a small rodent or a bird, they're not going to survive the initial attack. They're going to be mortally wounded, so they're not going to ever have a chance to go crazy with the rabies virus. It's going to be, like I said, something like a bear or yeah, something bizarre like that.
Yeah, and I never thought about it. You don't see the little, even like baby foxes or anything. It's always the big adults, the big raccoons, and
Well, yeah, because again, the baby fox isn't going to survive that
yeah,
mauling.
that makes a lot.
Maybe a groundhog, because again, it's about the size of a beaver, and if it takes a bite, it can get down into his hole. But yeah, anything, like I said, I mean, my squirrel, she's pretty big for a squirrel, but it doesn't matter. Anything that has rabies and just took a big chunk out of her, man, dude, she could get wounded if the door closed on her too hard or stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be really careful about that stuff. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's not going to survive that attack. Same thing with my pet chipmunk. Whatever even got its hands on that to take a bite out of that poor guy, he's toast.
Oh yeah, the little Pomeranian running around here's 2 pounds. There's no way he's gonna survive something like that.
Well, yeah, same thing with like exactly like you said. Anything with rabies is gonna, yeah, your dog's not big enough to survive that attack to like, yeah, exactly. Unless you went out and interjected and bit up. It
Yeah.
is, like I said, important, but I just figured that was something super interesting for somebody to get a kick out of. But also, again, just be aware because I mean, you never really know what's out there, and that just goes to show you how stealthy a beaver can be. And that thing had rabies, and the dude had no clue it was coming to chomp on his butt cheeks.
Can you imagine that? Just standing
No,
there
I
minding
don't
your own
want
business
to.
with a pole in your hand, getting a chunk out of your butt.
Have you seen their teeth? The reason they're that color, right, is because they actually have iron. Their teeth are made out of metal, okay? They have metal in their teeth, which is why they can chew on wood all the time. So it's not like yours or mine's teeth, okay? It's not enamel and such. It's literally metal.
Beaver, one of nature's animals that'll take out a vampire.
They're cool, but yeah, they can be savage. I mean, it's almost like a water bear. I'm not even kidding you. It seems to have the temperament of like a raccoon or, or an otter. They just can get really ticked off.
Well, yeah, I was laying on the beach while because I don't go canoeing, but my mom went to go down and just paddle in the water with my stepdad, and a freaking beaver came out and tried to lay waste to the canoe. They're beating with the oars and everything else to get them to go away. I don't know if it had a den or something nearby, but it sure didn't want them in the water. I'm up
Yeah,
there
I
laughing my
mean,
knee off, and they finally get back. So what that feel like? You believe that beaver? He must have had a setup on him the size of coconuts.
that's what I try to tell people when they're like, "Oh, well, like defend yourself, etc." It really doesn't matter if a predator wants to come at you. I mean, go ahead and try to, defend yourself as much as you want. But at the end of the day, picture a mountain lion, okay? I mean, has anyone dealt with a very upset house cat before? That's quite a task, okay? And has probably not here, but I mean, again, my squirrel's not that big. Dude, when she gets upset, man, the other day she didn't want to get put in her cage. Well, I had to go take care of something real quick because it was in the middle of the day and she just wanted to be outside and doing what it is that she wants to do. So I'm trying to get her in there. She's jumping all around. Didn't have my shirt on because it's hot in my house. Why would I have my shirt on? Why? Because literally she like clawed my chest, my arms, dude. Like not trying to hurt me, but just like, yo, get off of me. I want to go outside and play. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, and yeah, try dealing with that. And that's like, I don't even know how much she weighs, but it can't be that much, dude.
Yeah, our cats are declawed on the front, but one who hates to go in the crate for the vet will tear me up every time trying to get her in that crate. I
That's
mean,
what
those
I'm
little
saying.
teeth and claws I am bloody. It's like,
Yes. So now trying to picture dealing with a really upset or something that wants to consume you. Honestly, I think, I mean, you're bigger than I am, but I'm 6'1", 158, 162. Give me a baseball bat. Sure. If I had to, I could probably defend myself against two wolves. Okay. But bare hand, me versus one wolf, dude, I don't even know potentially how. Yeah, that'd be awful. And now picture somebody like your size again with a bat. Yeah, I'm confident you could take on two of them. But now without a bat, how would you
no,
feel if you had to take on two of those to defend yourself?
no way. I would know it's over right there. Fight till the end, but they got two sets of very powerful jaws, and all they need is one Achilles tendon, and I'm not standing up. And they know it.
That's what I'm saying, my friend. And a wolf is a decent sized predator, but that's pretty still mini in comparison to some of the other predators, such as tigers, bears, and man, okay, so it's still not it's an apex predator. It's not the size of a lion, a hyena. You know what I mean? Like now picture trying to take on something like a hyena, okay? So again, I just really advise people to try to be realistic about some aspects and just realize you can't just stand your ground all the time. Or hey, why didn't someone pull out a picture to take a picture of that? Because you're not going to be able to defend yourself. Hold your phone up and tell me what animal, unless you trained it, has decides to pose for that. They're literally gonna, if you do that to a bear, it's gonna swap your phone out of your hand, and most likely your head's rolling after your phone next, probably. So
Well, yeah, and not only that, just the shock, I think, as of it happening to you. Like, is this real? Is this what I think I'm seeing? You get 15 or 20 seconds, and even if you sit here and count, you say 15, okay, the encounter lasted 10 seconds. It doesn't sound long until you count it out. And then when you count 10 seconds out, it's like, that's actually kind of a long time to be sitting there staring at a camera and something's, like when my friend and I were out and we had that one walking toward us. We both had our thermals on, but neither one of us thought about hitting the picture button. It was like, you can hear the audio. There's all kinds of cussing and like, okay, when's it going to stop? Holy crap, there'll be a lot of bleeping to get it on there, but
that's what I'm saying. People should really understand that it's not as simplistic as that. I mean, anyone that thinks they're, you know, capable of that, okay, but just imagine trying to go 30 seconds and then someone would stop at 30 seconds with a spotted hyena. I don't
yeah,
think I'm all set with that, you know?
yeah, same thing. If you got a black bear walking, let's put a black bear out there and then just have him walk toward you, and you got 30 seconds.
Yes,
What's your
that's it.
reaction to me?
Just 30 seconds, you know, and but realistically, within 30 seconds, an apex predator can easily dispose of you. And I saw a crazy video before I tell you some correlations you had asked for, where someone had set up a trail cam and it had lights on it purposely. And this grizzly bear, jeez, crow, it was a pretty large specimen, starts walking out of the trees. And at first, just because of the way the trail cam is, it takes a second, especially because I'm so used to using like high tech and high res footage and such. I'm just looking, man, those trail cam footages, it looks like it's on a dang potato. But either way, you can see, I mean, not really, but yeah, it looks like it's filmed on very low quality. Whoever's making trail cams needs to step their game up, you know? Either
Yeah,
way, when the thing comes out, the light goes, it stops for a second, looks around. You can see all the scars on his face, and then it walks again. The light goes off again, and it realizes it's just a light, and it starts eating the carcass. And you're just like, man, that thing coming into your camp, dude, no one stands a chance. So even not talking about cryptids for a second, don't be a bozo out there in the wilderness. And, I understand I love animals too, but you got to have a point of intelligence to at least have something to protect yourself, because that dang grizzly bear right there, man, those eyes, I don't care, dude. That thing had no desire to make any sort of friends with a human or anything, man. That thing just looked like it wanted to eat.
Well, and that's even like did you ever watch the Timothy Treadwell movie?
Oh boy, yeah, man, that guy. He might have honestly had a relationship with a few of those bears, but you can't. That's dumb behavior to not even protect yourself. Yes, continue though.
Yeah, I mean, you see the bear that did it, and you can tell on the bear's face that that bear's not happy. You don't need an IQ above room temperature to know that that bear was going to give him problems. I sure wouldn't have messed with it after that. And like you said, yeah, you might make friends with a couple, but there's a lot more than two out there that are just willing to put you on the food chain and share you with their friends and family than try to get you for a grizzly pet.
And animals have different behavior paths as well, which people don't realize. Meaning, again, I have a pet squirrel, but I chill with a ton of the neighborhood squirrels that come over too when she's outside. Every animal has different behaviors. All the squirrels are cool, but some are more shady than the others, meaning they will purposely wait for one to start eating a nut, go karate kick it, steal its peanut, and then run off. Some are more like, yeah, some come right up. Some are more sketchy where they sit on the railing, they're scared, but they see you're feeding some of the other ones, so they want to come up. They look like they're doing like a stuck in motion, like kind of like an iguana walk or something, just like because they want to come but they can't come. Some come, like I said, right up, let you pet them and stuff. So just think of dogs or cats, man, domesticated. Every animal's got different attitudes and such. Some little dogs are complete maniac ankle biters, and some of the biggest dogs just want to come cuddle with you.
Yeah, and even the first year I was out Bigfooting, we found a little baby porcupine, and actually over the course of about 6 months had him eating peanut butter out of a spoon. It was nothing I was going to pet, that was for sure, but he'd come up, see what was going on, and all right, so we just started leaving a little peanut butter here, and he'd eat it and tried getting a little closer, and then I'm like, okay, the spoons is as close as I want to get to that rear end. So called him Junior, and 2 years later he disappeared. So
that's sad, but that's pretty cool. Having, again, I don't know, just I encourage everyone. People like to say touch grass or things like that. I mean, just having relations with something so simple as like that little cool chipmunk, man. I don't know. It's a powerful thing to have something so small trust you so much and know that obviously I'm not going to hurt him, and I'm petting him and feeding him peanuts and stuff and nuts. And yeah, it's a really cool thing, man. But some of the correlations you had asked before we do kind of tie this up is, for the most part, it's either just fleeting sightings, meaning you're telling me or someone else is saying that they saw it run across the road or the field. That's obviously the majority. Then I would say the pareidolia images come in at number 2, where we actually do have some that are really quality, but the most are just pareidolia, where I don't see anything, or just known animal tracks where someone wants to send me a picture of a glove by an obvious canine footprint. Yeah, cool, thanks, nice job. So those would be the majority. But then the quality after that starts coming in. We have a lot of unknown vocalizations that we've sent off to our science team that have shared it around, and still really interesting and confusing. And then I would say we have a lot of unknown quality footprints, and those right there are going to be some of the most common things people see. And, like I said, and usually it's, if they do see them walking or moving, you have a few where it seems to stay bipedally for a long time as it's walking, but the majority is it's running quadrupedal and bipedal, because it's reported to have arms that are down past its knees. When it does run, it's hunched over, and its center of gravity is almost as if it's falling over, but it's got such long limbs that it keeps it in motion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, total sense. Yeah, see, and vocals get me. Maybe I'm just partial because I've been lucky enough to get a few, but I found out one of our clients in the gym she writes for Ammunition magazine and a couple other big websites, and so she travels the world with these companies and goes big game hunting and the whole 9 yards. And so I asked her if she had any cryptid encounters, and she came right out and said she's had a few where it's either been like a Bigfoot or Dogman, some stuff she can't explain. And I says, well, have you heard anything like this? And I played that recording that I shared with you. And she listened to it. She's like, play that again. She listened to it 5 times. And she said, in all the time I've been in the woods, I have never heard anything like that. So vocals have a very special place in my heart for that, especially when you can run them through like a spectrograph and then they're outside the normal range and don't fit anything that's in that computer.
Yeah, no, it's really bizarre. And I do encourage you and anyone else, I do have a section of unknown vocalizations where people can check them out. They're definitely pretty creepy. And to actually, before we tie this up, I shared a strange story that I never really told many people at all, just because it was in my past and I'd forgotten about it. And I mean, I'm still existing, so who cares? But I happened to think about it the other day when it came to some of the documentaries I'd watched about strange individuals and behaviors and how you should really not trust certain people and how people can look so calm and be great citizens, but then at night be pretty much a demon, more or less. So I happened to tell JJ Messenger a strange story that had happened to me back when I was acting and modeling. Well, now I'm going to share a strange encounter with you because as stated, I've never had anything paranormal based, never seen cryptids, UFOs, anything. Both these encounters are with people. The first one, definitely, I know it was a human being. Okay, it has nothing to do with that. It's just the fact of A, trust your gut. B, there is strange human beings out in the world that are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than any cryptid. And C, just again, if you have a bad feeling about something, not even just trusting your gut now, use your brain, okay? I used to like to go out late at night and I had an extension. This is back when I was in high school, and my parents built an extension off the side of the place that we grew up in, meaning I could go out the back door part. My room was right there, and there was a sliding door that separated my room from the rest of the house where I could still go out, use the bathroom, whatever. But, if I wanted to go out and drive because I was 16, 17 at the time, I didn't have to wake up everybody else, I used to just go out, and it was super cool, but I was a creative individual as a child already. And I always loved creature features because of my mom, rest in peace, mom. But she always watched like the gnarly creature features, werewolves, vampires, tales from the crypt, whatever. As a child, that was already kind of in my creative mind, even at 16. And when I would go outside, when the full moon sometimes would shine down, there was an open field behind us and all these other like houses kind of. So it was a community, but still the light would come down and it was dark, and my imagination would always think that there was some crazy like werewolf or beast chasing me. So whenever I'd like come in, I would run to my back door and sprint in real quick. But obviously it's all in my mind. But either way, this one night I'm out, and as I'm just kind of walking around and I'm going up this hill on the street. So picture it's probably 1:30 in the morning, maybe 2 in the morning, give or take, and the street lights are illuminating things. But all of a sudden, I'm just walking, and this car that's completely like dark. This was a long time ago, but it was probably black. Definitely had like tinted out windows. Was up ahead of me, and it pulled out. Okay, but then as it pulls out like pretty far ahead of me, it stops. Okay, and it literally goes boom and cuts through this little side circle that loops around and is then going to end up coming up pretty much when I turn now and have to try to run back to my place. There's like a little side plot that you can run behind all these houses, okay? And but as he's coming, or she or whoever it was in this vehicle is coming around, nobody else is around. Everyone's sleeping, dude. And they come up now and they're coming towards me, but they like aren't close enough. They're probably like, I don't know, man. Again, this is a long time ago, and you know how I always state we're not the best at remembering things, but it was farther enough away where I could sprint, but it felt like my legs were so heavy, dude. And I'm trying to run so fast, and I dove down that little path behind a bush. So I mean, he was further enough away that I had time to do that, but And then he's like, "Vroom," or whoever it was, and I'm hiding in this bush, okay, because I don't know who this person is, and I don't know, man. I honestly just wanted to get out of sight and potentially see who this was. So I guess I could have continued to sprint towards my house, but I don't know, man. That wasn't my first thought. My first thought was just get in the bush. So as I'm in there, just leaning down in the bush, I'm like looking out, and this person rolls down the window, and I can't see anything though, still, man, because it's just dark in the car too. And I just see this like light on, but again, I can't see who it is, and they're like shining it around, and I'm just like ducking down. And after like what seems like quite a long time, but again, like you said, time frames could have been 10, 15 seconds, I don't know, 5 seconds, but then they just rolled the window up and sped off. And I got up and just ran to my house, and I'd never seen that car in that community before, never saw it again. And I don't know, man. I mean, it could have been somebody that was looking for me in general that had beef with me and that knew maybe I like to kind of go out around that area. Could have, maybe. I don't know, but I don't know how they would have seen it was me though from that far away, unless, like I said, someone like tipped him off or something. So sure. But I don't know, man. I had some sort of ominous feeling that if I would have been like, yo, who are you? Or like, what are you doing? If I would have said something, man, I don't know. Just every little inch of my body just said, like, sit there and be quiet. And as soon as you get a chance, go.
See, to me, those are the scarier encounters in cryptids because, we're supposed to be the non-violent species, but look what we do to each other every day. That's why people ask me about, well, aren't you scared when you go out? It's like, not as much as I am. We're real people.
Yeah, man. Seriously,
Like
bro.
you said, you got to trust your gut when it comes to stuff like that.
Definitely. So I figured on a parting note, just to everybody out there, just be aware, and trust your instincts, because there are unfortunately some really deranged individuals out there. And growing up in Boston and up here in Maine as well, I've seen some pretty shady people in shady spots for sure. Again, thanks for popping in tonight, everybody. And Brian, I appreciate you stopping in weekly and having great content to speak about and being a great researcher on your own and a great friend, man. So I appreciate you for sure.
And likewise, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come on and talk with you, and like tonight, learn from you, one of my best friends and brothers. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for everyone who once again stopped by tonight for this episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on Star Fox Radio. If you do enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, and share it. Feed the algorithm, and I will see you on the next one.